Good afternoon. Before we call the meeting to order, a couple of housekeeping items, if I might speak to. First, if you're here and you'd like to be heard by the trust, there are sign-up sheets outside in the lobby. If you would fill one out and get it into us, when your item comes up for discussion, we'll be happy to call on you, or we'll be happy to call on you at the end of the sessions. And then the other, if you have a cell phone, if you would please silence them right now, that would also be helpful. With those housekeeping matters behind us, let's call to order the September 18th, 2018 meeting of the Economic Development Trust. And we have the pleasure of swearing in the new trustee, Todd Stone. So if you would, Francis.
I, Todd Stone.
I, Todd Stone.
Do solemnly swear.
Do solemnly swear.
That I will support, obey, and defend.
That I will support, obey, and defend.
The Constitution of the United States.
The Constitution of the United States.
And the Constitution of the State of Oklahoma.
And the Constitution of the State of Oklahoma.
And that I will not knowingly receive.
And I will not knowingly receive.
Directly or indirectly.
Directly or indirectly.
Any money or other valuable thing.
Any money or other valuable thing.
For the performance or non-performance.
For the performance or non-performance.
Of any act or duty.
Of any act or duty.
Pertaining to my office.
Pertaining to my office.
Other than the compensation allowed by law.
Other than the compensation allowed by law.
I further swear.
I further swear.
That I will faithfully discharge my duty.
That I will faithfully discharge my duties.
As a trustee of the Oklahoma City Economic Development Trust.
As a trustee of the Oklahoma City Economic Development Trust.
To the best of my ability.
To the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And welcome.
Welcome, Todd. We're looking forward to serving with you, and thank you for accepting this responsibility. Thank you. Moving right along, next on our agenda is to approve the minutes of the August 21st, 2018 meeting of the Oklahoma City Economic Development Trust.
So moved.
We have a motion and a second. Any comments? Not seeing any. Please cast your votes. And it is approved. Next is to ratify the OCE DT claims. You have the claims before you. Questions, comments, or action?
No questions, but would like to move approval.
We have a motion to approve. A second. Any questions? Seeing none, please cast your votes. And the claims are so ratified. Next up, we have Mr. Eric Winger to share with us.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We do have one item for your consideration today from Project 180. It's item number 5A. We've got amendment number 3 and change order number 4 to the pedestrian plaza project. This is a project that we actually started well over a year and a half ago, but it's complete. It's substantially complete, and I anticipate that this is probably the final change order amendment that you'll need to consider on the project. It's for $66,691, and it includes a number of items. Some concrete unit pavers. It also includes some additional work and things that were needed for some utility conflicts. You might also note that it includes about 187 additional days due to those utility conflicts that were needed just to be reconciled within that park. There was some site drainage and a dumpster screen, but again, the project's complete. It's actually open, so if you wish to actually use the park or actually see some of those enhancements, you can do that today. They are wrapping that up, and we expect the final completion in the next month. So hopefully acceptance very soon. Can answer any questions you might have about this item.
Questions for Eric? Look for a recommendation to approve the amendment and change order. We have a motion to do that. Is there a second? A second. Any comments or questions? Seeing none, please cast your votes. And it is so ordered. Next up is, who's going to be handling that? Ms. Kathy?
No.
Okay.
The next item on the agenda is a resolution accepting the deed of the Declaration of Covenants for Omni OKC for the property for the new Convention Center Hotel from Omni. This item, the resolution or the Declaration of Deed, establishes the minimum tax payment that Omni will be required to make in the amount of $1.4 million. and further implements the requirements in the economic development agreement that we have with Omni.
Questions for Ms. Kathy? We have a motion to approve.
Second.
Second. Please cast your votes. And it is so approved. Next up, I think Mr. Brent Bryant.
Actually, I'd like to introduce Jeff Seymour with Greater Oklahoma City Chamber of Commerce, and he's going to introduce this project and introduce our speaker.
Thank you, Brent. Today I'm excited to bring to you a project that we think represents forward momentum and opportunity for the Oklahoma City metro region. When we talk about the goals that we have as an economic development team and the goals that we're contracted with you as a city, one of those is continued economic diversity. And when we think about economic diversity, we think about innovation and technology and bringing those to the community. And this project definitely hits both of those marks. Real Sourcing, Inc. is a project we've been working on for the past several months. My team, Amy Shones and Brooke Honer in particular, as well as the family of chamber staff you see behind me, have been working on this project for several months. Been a fast-moving project, but it's an opportunity to bring software development technology to downtown Oklahoma City. I'll let Trey Sasser, who's the CFO of the company, provide the exact details, but approximately 150-ish jobs and great wages here in the community, and again, represents a great opportunity for economic diversity. We're very, very excited about this project. So with that, I'll introduce Trey.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. My name is Trey Sasser, and I'm happy to be in front of you today representing Rural Sourcing, Inc. as its Chief Financial Officer. Before I begin today, I want to say that I'm incredibly excited about the prospect of coming to Oklahoma City. We believe that there's the right combination of IT talent, low cost of living, and high quality of life for rural sourcing to be successful here, and we're eager to get started and make the move. With that being said, let's get started. So, RSI, Rural Sourcing. We were founded in 2004 in Jonesboro, Arkansas. We are part of a $300 billion with a B dollar industry for outsourced IT services. We joke that we'd like to be just 1% of that soon. Our next code is 541511, which is information technology and custom application development. So our business model is unique in that we do our outsourced development work domestically here in the United States. And we believe that there is an abundance of talent here in the U.S., and we don't need to go offshore to find that talent. And we can do it for a reasonable wage and charge a fair bill rate, and the math works out. So we're currently in Jonesboro, Arkansas, where we have a development center, our first development center, Augusta, Georgia, Mobile, Alabama, most recently Albuquerque, New Mexico, and we look forward to being here in Oklahoma City very soon. So we provide challenging software development work to qualify local people in locations that have a high quality of life. And we're very proud of that. It's part of our business model, right, our plan. We believe that you should not have to choose a vocation over a location. That if you live in Oklahoma City to find challenging software development work, you don't need to go to Dallas, you don't need to go to Denver, Salt Lake City, or so forth. Those jobs should be here, and we're going to create them. Our plan is to create 150 jobs here, high wage. So this is, yeah, just pause it 1 second. So let me tell you what we're getting ready to do and why we're getting ready to do it. I want to show you guys a video. Rather than me trying to explain what we do exactly, I think this simplifies it, stick figure drawings, and you know, it's a good way to frame the discussion as we go along. So.
Over the last decade, IT companies have sent jobs overseas in an effort to streamline processes and reduce labor costs. The result? Well, according to Lassity research, 50% of those same companies are unhappy with their offshore provider due to costly inefficiencies, rising labor rates, time zone challenges, compliance risk, and cultural barriers. As you can imagine, That creates a challenge. We understand that challenge. We have a solution. We are rural sourcing. Rural sourcing was founded with one goal in mind: to bring those IT jobs back to America. How do we do this? By placing these jobs in smaller U.S. cities with low cost of living but high quality of life. And then we bring in highly skilled and educated software developers so that you'll get the most efficiency out of your workforce. Basically, you'll be getting higher quality work from fewer people. Couple that with no cultural barriers or time zone challenges, and bam! You get the best of both worlds. The personal touch and quality of work you've come to expect onshore, but with the same low cost you'd find offshore. In this partnership, we all win. We are rural sourcing, and we are changing the IT outsourcing experience.
So hopefully that provides a little context. And really, our competition is offshore IT. Right? It's India, it's China. We do it here, Jonesboro, Arkansas, right? Domestically outsourced. So I like this slide, right? This is I think encapsulates really who we are, our humble beginnings. We were founded in Jonesboro, Arkansas in 2004. Monty, our CEO, were here, and he will be. He loves to tell the story about how we were founded in a 10 shack with 10 people. You know, he does a better job than I do. He does it more justice. But, you know, those 10 people you see up there, I think 8 of them are still colleagues. And so we've grown in Jonesboro. We're no longer in that 10 shack. We're in a 1905 building in downtown that used to be a savings and loan, which we've repurposed. We've got the whole building, and, you know, we kept the original floors, we kept the beams, we kept the polished concrete downstairs, we even kept the vaults, which we've turned into restrooms. I mean, that's why we're so excited about the location we'll talk about in a second. But this is what we do in every location where we go. And, you know, including our headquarters in Atlanta, we're in a 1924 hotel that I think there was an after party for Gone with the Wind there. But it's a cool building, and we've repurposed it, right, for the new millennium, right, and software development. So this is a little more detail about what we do. I'm not going to read this whole slide to you, but let's just summarize it and say, again, 100% domestically outsourced software development. Our colleagues do agile, which is an industry phrase, team-based work for our clients remotely in our software development centers. So our folks, they work in the software development centers. They don't travel to our client sites. So folks here in Oklahoma City, in a location to be named in Bricktown, would be partnering with folks in Mobile, partnering with folks in Albuquerque, and collaborating via video conference and doing client work for a client that could be in Chicago. And it's been incredibly effective for us. So our model, it gives our clients lower total cost of ownership and quicker speed to market. So our core competency is custom application development, and our primary domains are business applications, digital engagement, mobile applications, and information management. We currently have 420 employees. I think as of yesterday, 427. Our colleagues have, on average, 11 years of industry experience. Something that's unique about us is we do not require a 4-year college degree. We don't think you need it. So we've sort of evolved, and we've realized, you know, we can find great software developers who did not go to college. Perhaps they went through a boot camp. Perhaps the person was a firefighter first. Who knows? Whatever it may be, we do require a technical test to show aptitude, and our research and our experience has shown that if you do well in that test, you will be successful, or you should be successful in the role with the company. I think what's really more important about how we find our colleagues, and if I look at our employee base, it's the varied background. We love the fact that our people come from different places and they've done different things. And it gives them unique perspectives to help solve team-based problems. And that's how we really look at it. It's about our culture and a cultural fit. I mean, that is the interview process as we start to interview here in Oklahoma City, which we will be hopefully doing very soon. So I was in Albuquerque yesterday at our development center. We had a board meeting there, and I got the chance to talk to some colleagues and spend some time and walk around. We currently have 105 colleagues in Albuquerque and committed to do 125 by May of 2019, end of May. So we're on track to do it. But, I was talking to one of our colleagues. His name is Jackson Stateman. Super talented guy. He's from Maine originally. He has, I think, 2 master's degrees. He's done all of these different things, but has found himself at rural sourcing in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and he made this comment that sort of resonated with me. He said, and I'm going to quote him, "Weird people know other weird people." I said, I love that. I mean, that is our DNA. That's who we are. We have, if you were to walk around one of our development centers, you'd see that our colleagues have, all these things on top of their cubes, like you might see some Star Wars stuff or a Nerf gun that can shoot somebody 100 feet away on the other side of the office, and just a lot of personalities, right? And that's, if you know anything about software developers, that's the DNA. So we cultivate it, right? And, this is what we're looking for, unique people, varied backgrounds who can assimilate and be part of our culture. Our clients. I'm not going to get too much into this. We do business with the Fortune 1000, with PE-backed software companies. We have a lot of big-name clients. Number 1 healthcare company in the world, the number 1 home builder in the world, the number 1 beverage company in the world that might be around the corner from our headquarters in Atlanta. But this list is growing every day. And it is all U.S.-based. The work is done in the U.S., and we don't have to be local with our clients. It's all done remotely. So we can theoretically set up software development centers in a number of mid-sized metros in the United States. So some more company background, and then I want to get into a little bit about how we went through this process or started going through this process for site selection. Again, headquartered in Atlanta, Georgia, 427 employees. We're in 4 development centers currently. Probably have 20 people in Atlanta. It's back office, leadership and so forth. To grow and to move into another development center, first and foremost, the demand has to be there. We're not going to say, oh, it's that time of year, let's do it. We have to have the demand, and we have to be filling up our current space, which is what we're doing. We're at capacity in all of our locations. So we really kicked this off, I think, in May. We were having the discussions, okay, it is time. We have to pick that 5th center. What is the process? And this is something that we have documented very carefully, how we do this. And I will tell you that Oklahoma City at one point was one of 50. That's how we started. And we were very methodical about this. We have a model. It is very involved. It is, it has qualitative, quantitative data in there, and we use it, all these data points, through an algorithm to figure out what are really the most viable locations for us. Now, I will tell you, and Monty will tell you, our CEO, and certainly Ingrid, our COO, we will tell you that we believe we can do this in many different locations. We can. Some look better than others on paper. Okay? So the first part of this process is running the data through a model and taking that 50 down to a manageable number. In this case, it was 10. So we have an RFI that we sent out to 10 cities. We look at responses when they come back, and we down select from there. So Oklahoma City was one of 3 that we said, okay, this is where we need to go. So those 3 cities we then look at, and we say we're going to do site selection trips. high-intensive, 2 to 3 days. I think Amy made me meet, I don't know, 57 people, something like that. But the point is, we want to come to town, we've got all the data, we want to put boots on the ground and get a feel for what's really happening here. And we did that 3 locations. And the way we sort of framed it was, okay, we had a smaller location, a mid-size, and a larger location. Oklahoma City is the largest location. And the largest city we're currently located in is Albuquerque, New Mexico, and that's just under 1 million. So we came here, we spent 2.5 days, and I cannot tell you how impressed we were. We met a number of people, IT community, business community, local leaders. We talked to folks from universities, boot camps, and incubators, and it felt like home, frankly. So we have the data to support it, and then we come and we spend the time. We may have found our location, too. So we also toured a lot of real estate, quite a bit. It's part of the site selection trip. And I don't know, it was maybe the 5th place we went to in Bricktown, when we had been to all the different areas in downtown, and we toured the Rock Plow Building, the Rock Island Plow Building. And we were blown away, frankly. I mean, we will show you pictures of our other development centers, and you'll understand. I mean, this is precisely what we do. We go into buildings like the Plow Building, and we rehab them, update them, and inhabit them for 10 years or more. So we were incredibly excited. At this point, we have a letter of intent for 2 floors of the Plow Building. It's about 18,900 square feet. One of the things that excites us, too, is that, again, the build-out is about exactly what we would do. So we have now, instead of 6 to 9 months to build out and get into our permanent space, I think we've got 120 days. So that makes it a lot easier. Plus, working with Richard, if he's here, has been tremendous. And his head is in the right place, his heart is in the right place. He understands that, this is a good fit, a good marriage, rural sourcing in the community. So we're incredibly excited. And then last up here, I mentioned the data points we look at. Number 1 on that list is going to be access to talent, being able to find qualified people. We've got to fill these jobs. If I'm going to stand here and tell you I'm going to hire 150 people, create 150 jobs, I have to know I can do it. So that's number 1. We work our way down the list. Quality of life is incredibly important. We don't work our people 60 or 80 hours a week. We don't do that. We want them to work 40 hours a week. We want them to go home, be with their families. We want to pay them a fair wage, so cost of living has to be in play too. Oklahoma City, the data that I looked at again, I had to get my head around is approximately 1.4 to 1.5 million people. Cost of living is about 84.5%. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. So, very important cost of living. And then I would say down the list is economic incentives, right? Again, think about who we're competing against and how we compete. Large companies are sending IT work to Asia, and those wages are considerably lower than what we're going to pay. So to level the playing ground, we rely on economic incentives to make that happen. So it's part of the overall process. This is the roadmap of the site selection process, if you guys want to dig into it later. But really, it just sort of summarizes what I just talked you through. I'd say at this point, we are right at, 4 or 5, right, selection. And then it will become standing up the new center, and then training people, hiring people, and coaching up. And see, what we'll do as we start hiring people locally, we will bring leadership and software developers from other centers, of course, So just to make sure that culture is not lost. You can go ahead and move forward. All right, so economic impact, what does it mean? We're talking about a 5-year lease, probably with a 5-year renewal. We'll invest $1.5 million in CapEx over 3 years. Okay, so that's really, the tip of the iceberg, right? The rent and parking will approach $2 million over 5 years. The real impact is going to be the number of people we hire, the jobs we create, 150 employees over the next 3 years. We have made these commitments before. Mobile, Albuquerque, we meet the commitments. We take it very seriously. We think we'll be at 50 within the first 6 months. I feel good about that. Conservatively, 70 at the end of year 1, 110 by the end of year 2, and then 150 by the end of year 3. The employees will be local, software developers. First year average salary will be approximately $65,000. It will go up from there. The range will be $40,000 to 6 figures for our most senior people. There it is. That should be our new home here. Okay? I want to lead with this so you then can see, and you can we'll go quickly through this. I'm taking too much time. Okay, so Mobile. This is what Mobile looked like before we got involved. This is a Buick dealership from the 1920s, downtown Mobile. Nothing was going on in downtown Mobile. Nothing. Okay? You can go to the next slide. This is what we did. We have 130 employees in Mobile now. This is now a technology corridor. There are other firms coming. We anchor it. There are now, I think residential is going up for the first time. There's permitting going on for the first time since the 1970s in downtown Mobile. This is Augusta, Georgia. This is the Enterprise Mill. This was built in the 1860s, I believe. We have over 100 employees there. This is where I just came from in Albuquerque, New Mexico, also on the historic register. Dates back to the 40s. It was a municipal building. We have over 100 employees there. I mentioned Jonesboro earlier. This is a picture from around 1920. This is what it looks like now. We've brought it back to former glory. There you go. That's it. Okay. Go through, please. Civic engagement, I'll go through quickly. Core values, colleagues, clients, communities. We partner with the local communities. We volunteer with groups, United Way, Habitat for Humanity, etc. We're actively involved in local chambers and advisory groups, and we are excited about being involved here in Oklahoma City. Colleagues, all right. This is the last piece. I'll let you guys read that, but this is from one of our colleagues. This gets back to location, vocation. Okay, this is a note from one of our colleagues to Monty, our CEO, that talks about thank you for giving us an opportunity to come back to Mobile, Alabama from LA and not Lower Alabama, Los Angeles, California. And, this is why we do it, right? Yes, CFO, yes. I want to run a profitable business, but I want to do it for the right reasons, and I want to positively impact people, communities. So, and then if you would, step through. And then last, this is just a summary. Okay.
I want to just summarize what we're doing here today. We're seeking your approval to allocate $450,000 to this project and to authorize staff to negotiate an agreement with rural sourcing to be the standard performance-based type agreements. They got to create the jobs before we'll provide the incentive payments to them. We anticipate a repayment between 5 and 7 years, so that $450,000 will pay out over that time frame. And we anticipate bringing an agreement back to you for your approval in the next 60 to 90 days. So I'm thinking November, December time frame. So
You said that payout's over how many years?
the contracts will be structured, will be paid over between 5 and 7 years.
Thanks.
It all depends on his ramp up that he's projecting, and it'll be based on that.
Thank you.
The allocation will go from here to the city council,
Yes, sir, it'll go to the city
approve the
council next.
negotiations to continue,
Yes, correct. It'll
and
go
then
to-
it'll come back to us, and that's the 60 to 90 days?
Yes, sir, it'll come back to this trust, and then after that, upon your approval of it, then it will go to the city council the following Tuesday. So it'll go to the city council, this authorization will go to the council next Tuesday, then the agreement will come back to you probably in November, and then it'll go to the city council for their approval.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Comments or questions for either the applicant or for Brent?
Trey, what's the average age of your colleagues or weird people, as your Albuquerque person said?
It's approximately 30, 32.
Action or questions?
Thank you for your interest in Oklahoma City. Took you a while, but you found us eventually. Glad you're here. I would move approval of the item for further
A
negotiation.
motion to approve, and a second. Any other comments or questions? Thank you for making your presentation. Please cast your votes, and it is so done.
Thank you.
Welcome to Oklahoma City. Next up, we have, I think, a report from our Economic Development Foundation, Chamber of Commerce.
Yes, and I will make this very brief. What I want to tell you is that each year, one of the conversations we like to have with you is a survey of our existing businesses, talk about the existing business climate. It's a conversation for us to have internally just to gauge what's going on, but also to guide public policy. I know that was a question that came up last time we spoke about this particular issue. So let me click through here quickly. The team that does this is our existing business team. I'll talk about a move they've made recently to be more focused on a particular piece of existing business. But this year we met with or surveyed 245 businesses. The job count that they represent is about 65,000 in our community, which is a pretty strong number from a variety of different types of business sectors. First, the good news as far as the report. Overwhelmingly, people, I think, felt really positive about the environment. Of the 245 businesses we surveyed, 88 were in expansion mode. You can see the numbers of jobs that they're adding. Average salary is well above the regional average, which is really good. Also, for the really good news slides, most of those companies are either staying flat with employment or planning to grow. So really good news for how everyone feels it's already here in the local economy. As far as the particular categories, I think it's the things that Trey talked about, the fact that quality of life's high, that cost of doing business is high here, that public safety works well, and utilities work well. As far as things that people are still describing as the areas of needs improvement, I don't think this slide necessarily would surprise anyone, but it's all things that we know we're all tackling together as a community, most specifically education and infrastructure. I did want to comment quickly about infrastructure and say that, I was in the car with the mayor recently. We were talking about the Safer Streets Initiative. I do think there's a little bit of kind of an internal community conversation about making sure people understand what we've done to invest in ourselves. We don't think people on a wide level understand the investment we've already made, particularly with the last bond issue. So I think that plays a little bit into this slide. And then also the work we all know is ahead of us in addressing a public K through 12 inner-city school system that in many ways mirrors many other public K through 12 inner-city school systems, and we know the challenges that are in front of us. One tangent I wanted to talk about is our talent strategy. This is a conversation that continues to be lifted locally. As we surveyed local businesses, the need for well-qualified talent and long-term talent pipelines continues to be a long-term area of concern. So that's an initiative the Chamber is currently lifting with a lot of partners, and you'll be hearing more about that in the future. So I'll try to move through that very fast. I know you guys have some other things to go and do, but I'm happy to answer any questions.
Comments or questions? Thank you for your report. I need a motion and a second to receive the report. A motion and a second. Any comments? Please cast your votes. And it is so received. Next up, we have a visiting lecturer who was going to lecture to us a month ago, but ended up not getting back to the friendly confines of Oklahoma City. Maureen, nice to have you with us.
Well, thank you.
And you're now one of the proud owners of a Ferris wheel,
I know.
competing with the other amusement item.
All right, we're a very amusing place these days. Well, I'm here to give you kind of a year in review report of what's happened, looking a year back, looking forward, and especially some immediate things, the carousel being one of them. The left, the right one? Well, here's the Myriad Gardens, and as you know, the redesign now is almost 7 years old. So with that redesign, we've had the ability to do a lot of new kinds of programming with those features. So a lot of this is showing you all the programming that takes place at the gardens and some of the improvements and things that we do because we really try to continually make the gardens beautiful, safe, clean, and we always want to keep adding to it and enhancing the treasure that is and use it for the delight and the education of the community. So this is just a little year, a whirl around the year in the life of the Myriad Gardens. Here is our holiday period last year, and this is fast approaching for this year. We have some new fun things planned for this year, so stay tuned for that. We have thousands and thousands of people who come to the gardens to celebrate the seasons, especially around the holiday time. A winter solstice event, the ice rink, it keeps growing and growing. We had our best year yet last year with about 35,000 skaters. We really could use a bigger rink. It's become that popular, and it's a great destination for people. We have skate aids now for people to help if they're learning how to skate. So we're big and small improvements we try to do all the time. Curling, who knew in Oklahoma City the new employees may be coming here, they might be able to learn how to curl in Oklahoma. We celebrate Martin Luther King Day to the community. We have lots of free programming. We are reaching out to all communities in the city. The Asian District participated in a really popular Asian New Year festival this year, which was terrific. It was the Year of the Dog. We had Asian dancers on the water stage. It was just great to see that. An orchid show, the Crystal Bridge, is a real treasure in this city, and if you haven't been there for a while, please visit. It's really lush and green. Lots of things are blooming. A beautiful orchid collection. St. Patrick's Day, which is a growing event. There's a huge interest in this event. It keeps getting a little bit bigger every year. Our spring bulbs have become a real phenomenon and a must-see exhibit. We plant thousands and thousands of bulbs every spring, and every year we plant a little bit more, because when people ask me, well, how many are enough, it's always a little more, because they're that stunning. So hopefully every year we're just going to keep expanding that. Easter egg hunt, so there's lots of great things for families to do, free or low cost. We started to do more programming and have features for kids who have various sorts of disabilities or challenges, so the gardens is a really interactive place for them as well. Gardening education really is our core mission, so every year we do a really terrific one-day symposium along with all of our other year-round programs. We bring in really top speakers from around the country to this event to really inspire and educate people how to become successful gardeners. We started a OK seed starting exhibit last year to really encourage families and kids to start seeds. It's a really great experience for them. We had that in our south lobby. We have started, this was our second year, a growing OKC Garden Fest, where we have dozens of garden vendors and plants and garden equipment and programming all about how to start a garden. The Art of Flowers is a fundraising event. As you know, we are a private nonprofit that manages the Myriad Gardens, so we have to raise a lot of money, and we do that through events like this and all of our fee-based programs. So the city's share of the amount it needs to run the gardens adequately, we're always trying to reduce that. I'm happy to say we're approaching 60% of that. So our nonprofit is providing, we're not quite at 60, I think we're at 58 this year of that. So that is growing a little bit every year. We continually invest in the gardens. This is a new shade garden that we put in. We started building it last year and completed it this year, and that has been very popular, a much better use of that space. We're adding new interpretive signage around the gardens to teach people about things from pollinators to how to save water. We showcase an Oklahoma prairie garden, which this time of year there are tons of monarch butterflies that are migrating and stop in there. So it's all aflutter this time of year and really beautiful. The Thunderbirds, this is a local group that gave us a large donation to buy 3 new pieces of equipment that are made for all children, but it has special features if they have some kind of physical disability to enjoy. And that's been so popular, and it's great to see this open up to families with all children. This is a merry-go-round where a child in a wheelchair can experience the same thrill as any other child. Our big fundraiser, again, to raise money, Splendor in the Gardens. We have hundreds of people that support the gardens, and we're really grateful for their support, which helps us do everything that we do. And many of our programs are free or very low cost, thanks to the subsidy that their support provides. This is our outdoor event. We have a lot of weddings in the gardens. Again, it's a real point to gather for the community to celebrate major events in family's life, whether it's a wedding or a birthday party. And again, this also brings in revenue for the gardens. Very popular. It's amazing the number of people that use the gardens every year. It's hard to keep track of the number, but you'll see a little bit later. We estimate that we easily have over 500,000 people coming to the gardens every year. It's a Goodwill Festival, our Pitchfork in the Park, our seasonal cafe. They've become very famous for their popsicles. Dancing in the Gardens, this is our most popular event, where we get over 1,000 people some nights to come out and dance to different music. We try to feature different types of cultural music. This was Indian dancing this year, and everybody loves it. It's just a great way for people to come together. We have a Children's Garden Festival. We bring a classic book to life, which was fun with Winnie the Pooh this past year. They built bears, they learned things, and this is our infamous Mud Day, which is growing too every year. People, who doesn't love to play in the mud? So we let kids get dirty and wash off in the Thunder Fountain. Volunteens, we try to get teenagers involved. Shakespeare in the Park continue to do their really high-quality Shakespeare plays in the summer and the fall in the park. Sonic Summer Movie Nights. The summer wouldn't be complete now without this out on our great lawn to enjoy every summer. The Arts Council puts on the popular Sunday series at the Gardens. So our great lawn gets a workout from May through the end of the year with all the events happening. Signature concerts that we do this year. September 29th is a free Parker Millsap concert on our great lawn, so that is just going to get a capacity crowd, I'm sure. Pumpkinville is coming up soon, where we bring in about 20,000 pumpkins for displays and activities and games, and this is so popular. It's really become a big tradition in kind of a short time. It's our highest fundraising event, too, of the year that we do. We are starting to, as an organization, promote tree planting. We really want to try to be an urban greening force, and so we are trying to grow our tree program every year, where we give away some free trees and then very, very low-cost trees to encourage people to plant in their yard or green their neighborhood. Education programs go along with that. Cox sponsors that, along with a lot of other corporate sponsors who help underwrite a lot of what we do there. Again, some shots in our children's garden. We improved the surfacing this year under the Thunder Fountain, which really is one of the top draws, too, in the summer for families. We showed Oklahoma this summer. Our full moon series continues to be super popular, where we ride in the evening on the night of the full moon, and we get hundreds of people out for that. We do a lot of exercise, wellness programs. This was a new program this past summer, a camp out. We had an urban camp out in these tents, which sold out. So that was very popular. That night they could do paddle boarding and lots of other things as a family, and we'll continue to do that. This was one we just did. We had a Latin festival just this past Friday, and had a lot of people out for that. Along with education programs that we do every day. These are smaller programs, but we reach a lot of people doing these. Almost every week there's something happening. Cat Video Festival, a Veg Fest we just had a couple of weeks ago for healthy living. And John Rex School is now at the Gardens using our lower level space, so all the areas in green are what they are leasing from us, and that's going very, very smoothly. I think from all accounts, from the students to the teachers to the administration, they feel it's working very, very well. So it was really so fascinating how we could turn this space that was a little bit underused during the weekday into a school and have it work really well for them, and it's working well for us too. This is the space that we're in. We renovated it thanks to a grant from the Inasmuch Foundation. This is what the classroom looks like in one of the rooms. These are the kids in it. And then we'll be adding 6th, 7th, and 8th grades over the next several years. We also, with having the kids here, we started a program for the kids. So every week our staff works with a small group and they get to do things in the garden. They might be collecting butterflies here or tagging them, planting bulbs, planting seeds. So they'll have a really great immersion into the world of plants and gardens and nature education, which is really great for them. We're currently renovating our south lobby, and we're adding a new classroom to the first floor, which the school can use, we can use. The lobby will be a really beautiful space, upgraded, modernized, for programs and events and rentals, and that will be opening in will be completed in mid-November of this year. So this is just a snapshot of our fiscal year results. I'm happy to say we came in a little bit under budget, so we produced a modest surplus for our operating budgets. And again, each year the share of the cities does decrease. So we have, you can see the lines of the city's share going down, the foundation's share of the money that we're earning through earned revenue and donations going up. So the city now is covering about 42% of our annual operating costs, and the foundation is covering 58%. People served, we estimate we served about 246 people through programs, whether it was education or rental, visiting the Crystal Bridge, exercise programs, all of those to the best that we can get hard numbers and estimated numbers. So those are the people that came to some kind of program or did something at the gardens. That doesn't include all the casual visitors. And the Myriad Gardens, as you know, we're also transitioning to gear up to take on the management of Scissortail Park. So we're doing that as well, and I'd be happy to come back anytime and give you a report on that to show you the progress we're making in the management side of getting ready to take that on next year. Thank you.
Thank you, Maureen. Any questions for Maureen? Seeing none, no action required. General Manager reports.
You have a general manager's report in your packet. Just a couple of things to note. In 2007, the voters approved the original allocation or authorization for the gold bond authorization that we used to fund the strategic investment program. That original allocation or authorization was $75 million. All of those bonds have been sold, but through the actions of the trust, we allocate those monies to each project, just like we did today. So through today, we've allocated about 71 million. So we have about 4 million left to be allocated to projects from that original authorization from over 10 years ago. In 2017, the voters approved an additional $60 million for the program. 10 million of that was to be used for affordable housing projects, and the remaining 50 million was, again, for the strategic investment program. We have not sold any of those bonds as of yet. We may look at doing that in the spring of next year, but I just wanted you all to know that that's kind of where we stand with the program overall. The only other thing I would say is that, on the outlet mall, we're continuing to see steady growth in sales and good performance at the outlet mall with their sales. about 4% over the target. So another good year for outlet shops.
Thank you, Kathy. Any comments or questions from the trustees? Thank you all for your participation. We have comments from staff.
Yes, I'd just like to recognize Regina's story today. This is our last trust meeting with her. She's been working with us. She's been promoted to the auditor's office, and she starts on Friday, and so this will be her last trust meeting, and she's been an invaluable asset to our team, and she's going to be deeply missed, and I just wanted to make you all aware of that. So,
Thank you. Thank you, Regina. Any other staff comments? Seeing none, any trustees? Todd, thank you for making the first meeting. Looking forward to having you on board. Citizens to be heard. Any citizens? We don't have anybody signed up. Thank you all for coming. We are adjourned.